Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Forecast. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Friday, July 2nd. The employment situation is out. Unemployment did rise. We were expecting 5.6. We went to 5.9. But we got a lot more jobs added into the market than expected. And markets are reacting, it seems right now, mostly to that. John is out today. He has started his vacation a little bit earlier than myself. So I am filling in for him this morning, and I want to thank him for covering for me the last few days on the market recap. I've been kind of buried in some of my own stuff, and so I have not been able to get that. So thankfully, John's been there to cover that. And as you guys know, next week, there won't be anything, abbreviated hours on Monday for trading, and we're not going to have any videos going out next week. We're all taking the week off. We're getting away. I'm going to enjoy our 4th of July weekend. So make sure you guys are doing the exact same. Go enjoy this weekend. Go take a little time off for yourself. It's very necessary. We all need it sometimes. And today, it is Friday. We're heading into a holiday weekend. This is a big U.S. holiday. Everyone's trying to get out of the cities. They're going to stop trading early. So I suggest you're doing the same things. If you're trading here this morning off the open, great. But look for that out. Look for that chance to run away as quickly as possible. All right, so we got a lot of things going on today. Let's start with what I find to be one of the more interesting ones. Virgin Galactic is planning on launching Richard Branson into space in about a week's time on July 11th. You have Robinhood getting ready to file for its IPO. Numbers are kind of astonishing over there. Has $80 billion in customer assets. Grew from 2019 to 2020 from $278 million in revenue to $959 million. So massive growth. I wonder what led to that one. We've got Toyota is outselling GM in the U.S. for the first time in a quarter. And Tesla fails to reach the number of cars that it was planning on. And I think that's pretty much some of the major news going on. Now, crude oil, common conversation we have, common product we're looking at, and you guys all know me, or those that do know me, know I complain about gas prices. I hate seeing gas prices go up. I drive a truck. It's about 12 miles to the gallon. It's not the greatest fuel-efficient vehicle, but it's a necessary vehicle for most of the things that I do in my life. So I accept having to burn through gas. I've accepted it. But I still like to complain when gas prices go up. And so this 4th of July, we are going to experience the highest gas prices we have seen on average in 7 years. And what's kind of interesting, and this isn't something I have looked at, but when it comes to gas prices, it's not usually something I'm paying close attention to trends and things of that nature. I just know I have an app on my phone. I'm going to look it up, find where the cheapest gas in the area is, and I'm going to get my gas there. It's about all I'm paying attention to. So I did a little reading, and I've looked into this a little bit, and I found it quite interesting. Normally, gas prices tend to peak May into April and plateau throughout the summer. That's for the first time in a very long time, we are seeing gas prices continue to rise into summer, which I just found interesting. There's a lot of analysts right now are saying that they expect it to jump another 20 cents approximately. So the national average is about $3.12 a gallon. Unfortunate here in Wisconsin, we're not seeing $3 just yet. I think we're seeing $2.98. We're pretty darn close. So just something to keep an eye on. Find it interesting. Those are things that we want to be looking at all the time. All right, and now jobs numbers. So let's just get into the nitty gritty on that one. Not farm, the big one. Jobs added. The prior was 559,000. That was revised to 583,000. And then for this week, or this month, the consensus was going to be about 700,000. Well, did a hell of a lot better than that. 850,000 jobs added. But on the flip side, unemployment rate prior was 5.8%. They were calling for 5.6 this time, but it rose to 5.9%. Something to pay attention to. And then average hourly earnings, those are up as well. Not as good as expected. Not up. Those are down as well. So prior was 0.5%. The consensus time was about 4.4%, and we were a little bit below that at 0.3%. So just a couple things to keep an eye on there. I do want to say good morning to everyone. The real one, good morning. 10-year Treasury yields not moving after beating expectations. Why? I've got them moving pretty damn good. 50 basis points so far. So maybe when you type that, we didn't have the big enough move, but we're definitely moving there. I expect it to be a pretty volatile morning here this morning. Theodore, good morning. Trading Research, Federico, Toan Tran, good morning. Tanya, John, Brian, Zorain, Mike, Keith, Jason, James, JD, the Dancing Bear, Mr. Shine's Mystery Channel, Greg, Taurus, good morning. TF Trading, good morning. And Rob, good morning from the UK. Well, good afternoon probably to you. Hi, struggling Forex trader here from South Africa. I recently failed my combine and now trying to raise the $99 to reset. Any advice for starting over? Patience. Patience is the key here. Just take it slow. Look for those little opportunities. Continue to grow that account, right? Even $100 is a step in the right direction. Locking in profits, that's a big thing to do. Locking in those profits when you are at a point where you've planned, right? If you got into a trade and you're willing to risk 300, but you're locking in 100 on the profit, that's not a realistic thing. You want to make sure you're looking at your risk to your reward. You're keeping that risk small. The reward is going to be greater than that risk, and slowly chip away. When the market gets directional, move with that direction. Don't trade the breakouts. Trade inside when the market is range bound, right? Those are some higher probability trade state when the market is fading or moving to an extreme probability state says it's going to roll back inside. So looking for those trades as opposed to the breakout. Just a couple things to think about. Profit time, good morning. Mr. Shine, the most valuable commodity is information. Gordon Gekko. Oh, Gordon Gekko. Gotta love it. But, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at these charts here, see what we got going on today. And we'll be quick going through them because it is Friday. I want to make sure we touch on some stuff, and I want to make sure everyone is really focusing on the idea of getting away from the markets here as quickly as possible today. I promise you, everyone else will be, just because you want to sit around at the computer until that 3 o'clock close. I impress upon you, try and not be that person. Try and get away early. If you can lock in a small profit to start your day, it's not a bad day. So let's go ahead and take a look at these things here and see what we've got going on. Alrighty. Fix one thing here. There we go. All right, as always, we're going to start with our daily in crude oil. Not much to say here when we look at this daily. This market is trending higher. It continues to trend higher. We do know, and I've touched on it historically, the $75 mark really is a pivotal location. We're going to need quite a bit of time to see this market hold up above $75. If it does, if we really start to hold above this 75, there is room, going to be pretty darn close all the way, and we have to go back a few years to $93. Inside that, there's a lot that can happen in here. So I'm really going to be focusing on that $75 mark. So when we look a little bit closer, what do we've got going on? Yesterday tested all the way up to $76. That's a huge move. Rotated back inside. And right now, my day is going to be trading right around yesterday's value areas. Plain and simple. It's settlement price right here at 75.23. Dead center in the range. You've got point of control down here, 75.11 with value area high, which happens to be overnight high, right? This is 8 o'clock. This was our open. Our overnight high came and checked it to the tick, 75.54. And we moved just through it slightly in the overnight session, 74, so we'll call it 74.74. So it's a nice range, pretty defined range for us to look for opportunity that has paid out multiple times here already. So that's what I'm going to pay attention to right now. I'm looking where this crude oil market is trading right, right at the moment, right? A lot of times we're looking for opportunity. This opportunity is kind of inside. We're going to take a lot of heat to see maybe it rotate higher. So be patient. Wait for this market to get near some extremes. Look for those opportunities. Now, if we break out to the upside, 76.20, right where we got to yesterday, that's going to be a big location. I'm going to probably even bring it a little closer, tighter into that $76 mark. If we get up to the upside. Now, if we rotate lower, because I always want to give us something for each side, right? We always want to be looking for each side. We're going to probably bring this thing closer down here to the 74.30. A couple areas just to keep an eye on. But right now, I'm really staying inside yesterday's range. That, to me, is going to create possible opportunity. So continue to keep an eye on yesterday's range. Next, let's look at the S&P 500. Similar situation here, right? Trending is higher. There has been no relief to this. We saw a little bit a couple weeks ago. I get it. But for the most part, this market is on a really strong trend to the upside. We need to trade with that concept, right? Trending higher. It's hard to fight that directional move. When we're looking at a lower time frame chart, remember what the higher time frame charts are telling us, and they're telling us this thing is moving higher. So when we look a little bit closer here at the 30-minute chart, what do we got going on? You get settlement price down here at 43.10 3/4. Market in the overnight session bounced off it quite a few times, and since then has exploded to the upside based off of those non-farm payrolls. I don't think this is based off the unemployment number. We're focusing on that non-farm payroll. All right. You guys know me. My initial trade right off the open, I'm always looking for that initial move back to settlement price. We are getting pretty darn far away from settles. About 15 points already. So if we open up, I'm going to have a hard time fighting this directional move we're seeing so far to close back to settlement price. I need to wait for some sort of signal saying that this market direction has ended. We're starting to rotate lower. So make sure if you're looking for that trade, you're looking for some confirmation that this direction is over. If not, if we don't see that, we're looking for that weakness. We're looking for those small pullbacks for this market to rotate or to give us a little bit of relief to go ahead and get in on trend. Now, let's get crazy here and talk about if this market does stop the trend, right? We have a down day. We are going into a holiday weekend. You don't know what could happen. Maybe people want to start to peel some stuff off here this morning and say, hey, I'm trying to get flat. I got a feeling they've been doing that all week. But let's just say they decide to start selling this thing off. Where can it go? We got to touch on yesterday's value area, plain and simple. Value area high, 43.07. Now, that's a hell of a move to get all the way down there. And I'd like to be short that whole way down there. If we get through yesterday's value area, it's important to note points of control. This becomes a naked point of control if this market does not check it today. So 4,300. Mark your charts, draw it on there. Make sure you're paying attention to that one, because if the market doesn't come and check point of control here today from yesterday, this becomes a very key level and price to look at for when this market starts to rotate lower. So 4,300, keep an eye on that one down below. All right, next, let's look at everybody's favorite here, the NASDAQ, the volatile, the crazy, out of control one here. And just like S&P 500, just like crude oil, this market is trending higher. It's hard to really argue that. Same principle applies here. If we are, it's important to know what the higher time frame's doing. We're paying attention. We're keeping an eye on this in every trade that we're executing. So that's step one. Recognize that trend. Don't try and fight it. If the market is showing you rotation to the downside, you're not looking for the huge, crazy moves, because we're remembering higher time frame tends to be the stronger one. So let's look a little bit closer here and see what we've got going on. This market now, up until about a half hour ago, an hour ago, this market has pretty much fallen into kind of a channel over the last few days. So this is what I think is going to be important to keep an eye on. I'm going to go ahead and get us some sort of volume profile so we can get a note of what's going on and where this market can rotate back down to. So what I like here is value area high. Once it broke out of it last night, it held really nicely. It rejected acceptance back inside value area. So you got yesterday's point of control right here at 554, and you've got, I gotta almost pull it all the way out to here, 544. I said that right. And then this point of control over the last 3.5 days, right here at 550. So a lot of things that are attracting our attention down below. This market is not saying it wants to move lower, so we're going to take this off here. We're back into uncharted territories. Market is trending higher. Now, the last thing I want to do here is be the person that is trying to pick the top or is buying those tops and trying to get into that trend, right? So what are some of the things that we can do when this market is strongly directional? We're looking for those pullbacks. We're looking for those points of weakness. And that's one of the points where you can maybe even go a little lower than I'll personally maybe go a little lower than the 30-minute chart. We're looking for that little bit of weakness to then help offset that risk. Because when we get directional, when we are strong and we are in these breakout trades, we can't expect it to go, quote unquote, to the moon. We got to recognize that this may slow down. So we want to look for those weaknesses in these trades to find ways to manage our risk so that we aren't coming in with that expectation of that 200-point move in the NASDAQ, that 100-point move in the NASDAQ, whatever the case may be. We can't come in with that expectation. We want to come in with the expectation that I need to keep myself controlled, manage the risk, keep things limited, and slow it down. So something to keep an eye on. Now, if this market does rotate lower, you got settlement price all the way down here at 14,548 half. Gosh, it's getting crazy saying it. I mean, obviously, we're just going to say 548 half is settlement price. So the same thing applies here. If we're looking to see this market rotate back to settlement price today, don't jump in right off the open with that expectation. Okay, we're going to close the gap to settlement price. It's a common trade that happens a lot. We saw it yesterday. You know, there's things like this happening all the time. Absolutely. Totally get it. But be cautious of that direction happening here today. Now, if you're looking for that trade, make sure this market is giving you the indication that this move is over and we have hit that top and we start to see this thing rotate lower. So if it does, we do have a lot of points down below. Like I said, when we looked at this over the last 3 days, point of control has been 550. You've got settlement price 548. You have yesterday's point of control right here at 544. Oh, and yesterday's value area high right here at 556. So there's a lot going on in that little 10-point range. That if this market does rotate lower, I could very easily see it get sucked right to it. Next, let's look at the gold. We are getting a little long-winded here. Gold finally seeing a little bit of life, right? We've had that big break over a couple weeks ago, and from there, we've just fallen into a channel. And this market has gotten range-bound. So we've got gold popping. You've got treasuries popping. You've got your currencies popping. You got everything is taking off to the upside. Something's going to show some relief here. I'm confident we'll see one of these markets give us some relief today. So keep an eye on that. But gold finally breaking out. Now, we do have a couple more points up above that are going to attract it. We've got our 20 EMA right here at 1805. You guys know me. I love using moving averages. To get up there, we got to get through that 1800 mark. We've seen that quite a few number of times where 1800 has been rejected. Market struggled. So we're going to probably see this market maybe continue up to 1800. 1800 is going to be an interesting location. We can look at opportunity there from both the long and short side. You can look for the breakout and say maybe we're going to get this thing to pop to 1805. Oh, and then we have our 200 SMA all the way up above at 1840. Now, I don't see us getting there today by any stretch of the matter, but it is going to be a pivotal level to keep an eye on up above. Markets love to rotate near those higher time frame moving average. So let's look a little bit closer here and just see what we've got going on. This market opened up, closed the gap to settlement price, pretty much to the tick and a few cents through. Settlement price right down here at 1776.80. From there, trends on, directional move. Same principle applies that I said on S&P. Same principle applies that I said in the NASDAQ. This market is getting directional. We do not want to fight that trend. We're looking for those weakness or those points of pullback to try and get in on that trend. Now, if you're looking for this market to rotate back towards settlement price or yesterday's value area in general, we have to get confirmation from this market. So like I said, 1800 to 1805 up above, and down below we're just looking to see if this market can come back into value area right here, 1781. And like I said, if we get that weakness, if this is the one that gives the relief and sells back off, I could see this market rotating really nicely right back into yesterday's value area. Next, let's look at the euro. Got to hustle up here. Want to get everyone into the open, and I want to be there for the open as well. Euro, we've got a little bit of pop so far, but this market, just like gold, big sell-off a couple weeks ago, has kind of fallen into a pattern looking for something to get this market moving, and we've got it so far this morning. We got a little bit of life. We rallied pretty strong after the numbers. We have moved into yesterday's value area. And here's where this market's probably, everyone's looking at 118.94, 118.90, we'll round it up, 118.95, up above yesterday's point of control. If this market continues in this direction, that is the target. We still got to wait for confirmation that we are accepting inside yesterday's value area. If we don't get this full-on acceptance here, where does this go? Well, we got settlement price down here at 118.58. That's kind of what I'm going to keep my eyes on. So right now I'm waiting for confirmation of acceptance into this value area. We're testing it. We're trying. We really haven't accepted. If it doesn't, I'm looking for it to rotate back towards settlement price. And boy, we got a little bit more room. This thing could start to slip even lower down below to some just key overnight levels. Next, let's look at the treasuries and we'll get on out of here. Treasuries, the last few days, we have started to see this market trend higher, and over the last few months, it's not the aggressive trend that we're seeing in things like the equity markets, but we are maintaining trend to the upside. We have seen this market move a couple handles over the last few months, and today's no different. We've opened up. We are seeing this market explode to the upside, but like I said, we are starting to see yields dip slightly. Those are backing off from where they were just 20 minutes ago when we first looked at them. So if those really start to retrace back to unchanged, maybe we see this treasury market rotate back inside. So I'm going to be patient right now. This market is still moving a lot for me, right? This is not a market that moves half a handle regularly in a day, which is what we're seeing right now. So I'm going to be really, really slow to act on this because I don't want to get run over. Now, a couple things to look for, right? We're going to keep an eye on those yields. If these yields start to continue to move back towards unchanged, look for this market to rotate back towards unchanged, maybe even down at settlement price. Down here at 132.08 half, 132.08 half. That's where this market could rotate lower to if we see these yields get closer to unchanged. Now, it's not guaranteed. This market could just be looking for a little bit of relief right now. We could pull back right to where we saw some rejection in the overnight session right here at 16, 32.16. We could see a small pullback, and from there, this market accelerating back to the upside. So just a couple things to keep your eyes on. All right, everybody, those are our markets here today. Like I said, there won't be market forecast or recap at all next week. Like I said, we're all taking some time off. It is going to be a nice week. I hope you guys do the same. I hope you get out and enjoy the weather. If you're in the States, enjoy the holiday. If you're not, well, make it your own holiday. Get out and enjoy some time. It is going to be a relatively quiet week next week. A lot of institutional people will be doing the same exact thing, taking the time off, spending time, getting away. And so I advise you guys to do the same. So I want you to get out there, enjoy your weekend. We'll be back in a little over a week. So you guys all stay safe out there. Have fun. Trade smart. Remember, it's all about risk management. And make sure you're putting those volume profiles on your charts. We all know how important those are. So on that note, I'm going to sign on out. I hope you guys all have a great and wonderful 4th of July. Until next time, you guys take care. So stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. We'll see you guys in the markets. Take care.